The information provided is not a substitute for legal and other professional advice where the facts and circumstances warrant. People should always consult their own legal or other professional advisors and discuss the facts and circumstances that apply to their specific circumstances. The information shared on Ask the Landlord is for educational purposes only.
Hello, everyone, and we're back with another episode 51 of Ask the Landlord, with our favorite landlord, Albert Dweck. I'm Melissa. I'm one of Albert's producers and a former New York City, Pittsburgh, Lafayette, Louisiana, and Washington, D.C. renter. And together, we're going to be asking this landlord some questions. If you have a question for Albert, leave us a voicemail on the Ask the Landlord hotline. That number is 646-580-3015. 51, Albert. Can you believe it?
Melissa, I really can't believe it. And it just goes to show you take little steps and you get somewhere where you never thought you'd be. And I'm really excited that we've been able to do this. It's been a labor of love, and I'm excited about the feedback we've received so far. And I get people on the street say, "Oh, there's this landlord." It's cute, and I really we're out to help people. So please do call in with your questions, and we'll answer them online right here. And follow the podcast. We're really excited about it, so we want to keep it going.
50 questions down. Here's the 51st question. It involves something that we look at every day. We look through it. We want it to be clean. So I'm wondering about windows. Are landlords responsible for cleaning the outside of my windows? And if so, how often?
Melissa, that's another great question. It's a yes and a no question.
I don't know.
I'm going to tell you it's a yes and a no. So, and I had to do research on this one. So, obviously, I'm a landlord and I have to deal with this. And then in my own apartment, I have these windows, and I'm like, oh, who cleans them? So, the short answer is the landlord is not obligated to clean the windows.
The outside.
The outside, right?
Ooh.
However, that's like telling me, oh, it's dirty outside and, that we shouldn't keep the lights on or whatever it is. It's like the place has to be good looking. It has to, you want people to be proud that they live there. You want to have pride of ownership as an owner, but you want to have pride of ownership for the people that are living there. Those, that's like your home. So that is your home. So, the landlord or property owner will do better to pay attention to things like that. It doesn't cost a lot of money to clean the windows or do little fixes or cleanups like that. But it just takes a little bit of attention. And I know it's hard because, it's like the boiled frog idea. You heard about the boiled frog?
No.
This is like a proverb or a business story. It's like, if you have a pot of boiling water on the stove, a frog's not gonna jump into it. He's gonna jump right out of it, right? So it's not gonna put itself in boiling water. But if you have a frog that's in water that's lukewarm and then you raise it 1 degree an hour, at some point the frog's gonna get boiled because he's gonna get used to the situation that's not satisfactory over time. So it's like, and I was at one of my properties the other day. I'm like, oh, we should clean this. We should fix that. We should, and those small things, but they make a difference in how people feel. And I think the windows are a big part of that. So I encourage building owners to pay attention to things like that, especially the windows on some regular basis. And I think that for residents, you say to your landlord, hey, I think it would be better for everybody if we clean the windows. How about we help out or whatever or something? So I think, yes. So the short answer is no, the landlord's not obligated, but the long answer is the landlord is obligated.
I love it. because the last thing a landlord wants is for, some tenant to be cleaning their windows on like the fourth floor themselves on the outside and,
Oh,
have an injury. God,
sorry. That should have gone without saying.
right. You never
Yes.
know. People are
Don't do anything dangerous.
right. I I think in my apartment in New York, Alan, I remember I was on the second floor, but I remember him like standing up and trying to clean it because I think there was a spot or something, maybe some bird poo. But yeah, don't do that. So just communication and ask the landlord to clean it, right?
I think so. You should, but it's not about, and I think we talked about this many times on the podcast, so it's definitely a theme that I want to address. It's like make an offer, or say, listen, you could say to your building owner, I love living here, and I think it would really enhance the property's value and everyone's experience to have this cleaned. Can it, how can I help with that? That's more of a thing, that how I would approach it as opposed to, can I get my windows cleaned?
Right. That's true.
Right?
That's a good point. What
But
about
it shows a little bit of like on the part of the first of all, the residents, like, it's not something the landlord's obligated to do. It is something they should do. But everything costs money. So, um, especially in high rises, obviously. And then, landlords want to maintain the value of their properties. They want to get tenants. They want tenants to stay. They want tenants to continue to pay. So one way to do that is to make sure your building is well maintained. And obviously, if it's so bad that it's dark or whatever, you have to do that. But it's not something that landlords think about every day. But it's good that landlords and tenants should have a dialogue about things like that.
but now they will because we've mentioned it on the podcast. So hopefully all the landlords listening, maybe they'll be proactive, clean those windows.
Great question. There is no obligation,
Right.
but there is an obligation.
Right. Also, so we have a few more minutes. What about the bars on the windows you see in like these big cities? Do you know anything about those? Are those required? Is it just from like the 70s?
No. Um,
Those bars.
so there are. It's a good question. If in New York, I can't speak to other cities. So there's a couple of different kinds of bars, right? There's bars to keep people out, and then there's bars to keep people in. Which
Okay.
which ones are you asking about?
Keep the ones out.
Okay, so then there's safety bars that people put up for security to keep people out. Usually they're on windows that are accessible to the street somehow. Obviously you want to make sure that if you're putting them in or if your landlord's putting them in, you have proper means of egress. So that's an important thing to consider. You don't want to be closing up a fire exit or anything like that. You brought up a good point. I did want to tell you about the bars in New York City. There's a requirement if you have children of a certain age that live in a unit, then you have to put bars
Oh, I didn't know that.
on the window to stop children from crawling out.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So you actually have to certify and register, that you're doing that, and then it's a violation if you don't. So it's like very that's why I was saying keeping them in versus keeping them out. So there's very sensitive and important rules about that that should be checked into. New York City, we have to put bars if there's a certain aged child in the apartment for that reason.
Wow. That is
Yep.
so interesting. I never thought of that. I always, as an aesthetic person, I just walk by and I'm like, those are so not
Yeah,
appealing, but there's so much more to them.
it's a violation if you don't
Interesting.
if you
If you
don't have.
don't.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know it's like the ground level, usually like if there's a basement or maybe the first floor.
it's not the upstairs. It's really the upstairs ones that you're worried about.
Right. For the kids.
For the kid. Right.
Right.
So, you've heard of kids crawling out windows, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that, you turn your head for a second and the kid's like, where, all of it. So you want to make sure that, the apartment is safe for, young people and everybody who lives there. So those are things that, you should, it's good conversation to bring up with your landlord anyway and say, listen,
Definitely.
I have a baby, they're walking around or whatever, and I want to make sure it's safe. What can we do? Have a conversation.
Yeah. That's so interesting. I'm so glad I brought that up. I never knew that about bars. And I love that all the landlords listening now will be proactive about cleaning their windows and all of that. So thank you so much, Albert.
You're welcome.
For more episodes, please subscribe to Ask the Landlord on your favorite podcast platform. We'd appreciate it if you left a review on Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to watch the show, check out our Ask the Landlord YouTube channel. If you have a question for Albert, feel free to contact him on Instagram at Ask the Landlord and check out his TikTok at Ask the Landlord. Bridging the gap between landlords and tenants, this has been Ask the Landlord. Thanks for listening.